Alright, hopefully I'll be able to keep these type of videos short. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do like weekly or whenever I feel like it type videos on my main channel about my fish and whatnot. But keep all my second stuff to, keep all my main fish related stuff to my second channel. So first thing I want to show off is my new goldfish. I just got him about 3 days ago now. He's still exploring everything. It's going to take him a little while to get used to me, but everyone else, including Mr. Chubbs up there, is doing just fine. And yeah, he still suffers swim bladder whenever I feed him. But other than that, he's a perfectly healthy fish. I've moved all the fish that are in here, the 2 rams and the bettas, into a 5.5 gallon. That's because I'm going to be converting this tank into a brackish tank for a pufferfish. I'm supposed to be getting a fairly large pufferfish in. I don't know how big it's going to be, but from what they're saying, it's going to be pretty freaking big. White Knight's doing just fine in his little 3.5. My little puffery here has a little bit of ick issues, so I'm going to go out and get some ick stuff specific for scaleless fish. Also, I'm also going to get the stuff required to convert this tank into a brackish tank. And apparently tomorrow, I'm going to be getting some files to work with. So I'm going to have some real fun tomorrow. I've taken some of the fake plants that are in the 20 long, put them in my 2.5 for my little paradise betta right here. I've also went through and I put in a new sponge filter into this tank. Did a water change to about here. Also did a water change in the 20 long. I forgot to mention that. Took out around 6 gallons of water. Did a proper water change, gravel vac and everything. I will be slowly changing the gravel in the 20 long to sand over time. I'm not going to do a complete drain the tank and redo the substrate. I'm going to change the substrate slowly over time. My snail farm is doing pretty good, by the way. Here's that 5.5 I was talking about. It is out in my living room. As you can tell, I have a betta. There's one of my rams now at the bottom. The other ram is probably hanging out over here. Yep, there's the other ram. He's the boss of the tank. And as you can tell, I have 2 filters. A standard sponge filter and one of these. This filter here is specifically designed for a 10-gallon tank. So these 2 filters right here are more than sufficient for this tank. They're still getting used to their new home, but overall they're doing just fine. And the last thing I want to touch base on is this tank here. Unfortunately, when I changed out the substrate in this tank, I've done this quite a few times in my other tank without any problems. But since I leave this tank alone and like never do any water changes out of the 7 or 8 months I've had it, me just draining out all the water practically and redoing the substrate and leaving the sponge filters alone ended up killing 2 of my 3 bettas. This is the only betta I have left. He is a $20 koi. With that said, I am not touching this tank now or for a while. I'm just going to let this tank sit. I'm not going to do anything other than just feeding the fish, doing general wiping down of the glass, and rebuilding the tank lid. As you can tell, it's pretty nasty. Any LEDs are pretty nasty too. If I lift this lid up, outage back there. Well, the camera really doesn't show you how ugly it is, but it's pretty freaking ugly right there. So I'm going to rebuild this tank lid and rebuild this tank lid and also replace both the LED lights here and here. My cat, my 2 angels. Well, they got a little bit bigger since I placed them into this 10-gallon. And my dragon scale betta. Everyone's doing just fine. Sucks that I lost a few fish. Oh yeah. I also had a puffer in this tank. Unfortunately, the puffer died. He died due to fungus, believe it or not. And I saw a snail in here too. Interesting. I'll just leave it for now. If it gets any worse, I'll just get a few assassins nails.